Welcome to AI Book Highlights.
Hi there.
Today we're looking into the Biophilia Hypothesis. It's a collection of writings, really, all about this idea that we humans have this innate, fundamental connection to the natural world.
Yeah, it's not just, liking pretty flowers or animals. It goes way deeper.
Right, it's about how our well-being, how we develop, maybe even our sense of who we are, is tied up with nature.
Think of this as, well, getting to the heart of why a walk in the park feels good or why just watching fish in a tank can be so calming.
So we've gone through the core concepts to pull out the really key insights for you.
Okay, so first up, this idea has evolutionary roots, doesn't it? Biophilia.
Exactly. The book argues our affinity for nature isn't just something we learn. It's deeply ingrained, shaped by evolution.
Makes sense. Early humans who felt drawn to environments with, food, water, safety, they obviously did better.
And the book uses the savanna as a key example, right?
Yeah, the savanna, open spaces so you can see predators coming, scattered trees for shelter, a lookout, water nearby.
The perfect survival spot, basically.
Pretty much. And the hypothesis is that because those environments helped us survive, we developed a sort of positive response to them.
So even now, we might have this, partly genetic tendency to find landscapes like that appealing. Restorative.
That's the idea. It might explain why so many parks have that open grass with trees kind of structure. It echoes something deep.
Interesting. Okay, so building on that, the book talks about what happens when we lose this connection, this phrase, extinction of experience. That sounds quite dramatic.
It is, yeah. It basically means we're having less and less direct personal contact with nature, with wildlife.
Because of cities growing and spending more time indoors, maybe online or watching TV.
Exactly. Fewer muddy boots, fewer bug bites, more looking at screens about nature than actually being in it.
And the book says this isn't just a trivial loss, right? It has real consequences.
It can lead to this sort of disaffection, maybe apathy. If you don't experience something directly, it's harder to care about it, isn't it?
Yeah, that makes sense.
They mentioned some research, I think, with kids living near national parks.
Oh, yeah.
And it showed different levels of, actual knowledge about the local plants and animals, depending on their background and how much they actually got out there.
So it really suggests this connection needs, actual experience to develop and be maintained.
Right. You can't just inherit it passively. You kind of have to live it. It makes you think about how much direct nature contact is in your daily life, doesn't it?
Definitely. Okay, third point. This one's about animals and how they're more than just, animals. They're important for how we think.
Yeah, this is fascinating. The idea is that animals are actually fundamental to our cognition, even how we develop abstract thought.
How so?
Well, think about little kids learning language. How many first books are absolutely packed with animal characters?
Loads. Cats, dogs, bears, ducks.
Exactly. And beyond that, symbolically, animals are huge in, myths, fairy tales, legends.
Like using a lion to represent courage.
Yeah.
Or a fox for cunning.
Precisely. We use animals to grapple with ideas about ourselves, about identity, complex concepts. They act as symbols, as metaphors.
So they're almost like tools for thinking.
In a way, yeah. Cognitive tools. Think about idioms, stubborn as a mule, wise as an owl, or even animals that show up in dreams. The book suggests they often reveal deeper things about how we understand the world and ourselves.
Huh. I never quite thought of it that way. Okay, moving on. Highlight number 4 is about the different kinds of value we get from nature. It's not just one thing.
Right. It goes beyond just, oh, that's pretty. The book outlines a few dimensions. There's the ecologistic scientific value.
Okay, what's that?
That's our urge to, study nature, understand how ecosystems work. Think of a scientist mapping a food web or studying animal behavior.
Got it. Like pure curiosity and understanding.
Yeah. Then there's the humanistic value. This is more about our emotional connection, our attachment to parts of nature, especially individual animals.
Like the affection for a pet. Or maybe the joy someone gets from bird watching in their garden.
Exactly that feeling of kinship or affection.
And there was another one. Something about control.
Yes, the dominionistic value, the desire to, master or control nature, maybe through breeding animals or large-scale engineering projects.
Okay.
And the book acknowledges this impulse exists, but it also, cautions against its potentially destructive side if it's not balanced.
So understanding these different values helps us see why people connect with nature in such varied ways, right? Someone studying insects versus someone who loves hiking. different values at play.
Precisely. It gives us a richer picture of our complex relationship with the natural world.
Okay, final highlight, number 5. This feels quite intuitive for many of us, nature's power to restore us.
Yes, and there's actually a lot of research backing this up now. Spending time in nature, or even just looking at natural scenes, can have measurable benefits.
Like reducing stress.
Definitely. Reducing stress, cutting down negative feelings like anger or anxiety, boosting positive emotions.
And it affects us physically too, doesn't it?
Uh-huh. Studies show impacts on things like blood pressure, heart rate, even brain activity patterns associated with relaxation.
It's like nature helps our minds and bodies reset somehow.
That's a good way to put it. And interestingly, it doesn't always have to be pristine wilderness. Even just having trees and plants in urban settings.
Like a park or tree-lined streets.
Yeah. Those show more restorative effects than purely concrete environments. It really highlights how important it is to weave nature into where we live and work.
For our mental and physical health.
Absolutely.
Okay, so those are 5 big ideas from the book. Now let's talk practical takeaways. What can we actually do with this knowledge?
Well, the first big one is pretty straightforward. Actively seek out direct experiences with nature. Make a conscious effort.
So don't just rely on documentaries or pictures.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be, climbing Mount Everest. It can be simple things. Spending time in a local park. Maybe tending a small garden. Even pots on a balcony. Taking walks in green spaces rather than just pavement.
Just making that intentional choice to engage directly.
Yes. The idea is, the more direct and personal your experience is, the stronger that connection, that appreciation is likely to be. Maybe think about planning your next weekend outing to specifically include some nature time.
That's doable. Okay, what's takeaway number 2?
The second one is about paying more attention to the stories of your local environment. Go a bit deeper than just noticing there are trees and birds.
What do you mean by stories?
Like, learn the names of the common plants and animals in your area. Find out a bit about their role in the ecosystem. Is that bird a year-round resident or migratory? Is that plant native? Does it have any local cultural significance?
So it's getting to know your natural neighbors, essentially.
Precisely. It combats that extinction of experience we talked about. It makes your local patch of nature more familiar, more meaningful. Maybe just pick one local bird or plant this week and look it up.
I like that. Concrete and achievable. And the third takeaway?
The third one is about thinking bigger picture.
Yeah.
Advocate for nature and try to incorporate it more into our shared spaces, our communities.
How would that look?
Well, it could mean supporting local groups working to preserve parks or greenways. Or maybe encouraging more trees and green roofs in town planning if you get a chance to voice an opinion.
And on a smaller scale, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Even just bringing more plants into your home or office space, talking to neighbors about a community garden project. It's about recognizing nature's restorative power isn't just personal. It benefits everyone.
So acting on the understanding that greener communities are healthier, more fulfilling communities.
Exactly. Think about one small way you could help green up your own corner of the world.
These are some really powerful ideas and practical steps.
Mm-hmm.
The Biophilia Hypothesis offers such a compelling look at this fundamental bond we have.
It really does. Understanding it feels, well, important, not just intellectually, but for our own well-being and, the planet's future, too.
Absolutely. So we definitely encourage you to explore the book further if this has piqued your interest.
Yeah, there's a lot more depth there.
You can find a link to purchase the book right there in the description below. Thank you so much for joining us on AI Book Highlights.